So what, Max was born in 97, wasn't he? So you were at Tyrrell at the time. I mean, let's talk about the lad then. I mean, first things first, how often did he come to races with you? I mean, was like the first thing he ever saw almost was a racing car, or?
Yeah, I mean, he was still... So he was 97, so I think when he was 3 years old, was 2000, I was racing in Arrows. Sometime, I brought him to the track, and
I think I've seen photos of him in the cockpit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then when we go testing, I took him with me, only him and me. And then somebody of the team was, when I was driving, was looking after him and things like that. So that's quite funny. But obviously, you know, it was always about racing. I think when we were having food, it was all about racing. So I think he's brought up with it.
And then given that Mum Sophie's a very good kart racer, isn't she? It's kind of, he was only ever going to do one thing. Is that fair? Or?
Yeah, but you never know, you know, the interest of a little boy. So, but he was keen. He was watching all the races. He was always very sad when I was leaving, because he knew I was leaving because of my job and driving. He was always crying when I left home, and so he was really hanging on to me when he was very little. So he was watching it all the time. He knew what was going on. And we had a go-kart team at home. My dad ran it, and so he was always on racing tracks. And he was always watching and looking, and, you know. So he's brought up with racing, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that he could have done? Was there anything else he was particularly good at from a sporting point of view?
He played football, but I cannot say he was particularly good at it. He was trying, that's for sure. But, you could see when he was small, his balance was very good. The way he was running, his bicycling, you know, he had a very, very good balance all the time. And
what kind of a kid was he? Was he a gentle kid?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, very gentle. Yeah, very good, very normal.
Can you describe the moment when you realised Max really had something? You knew he wasn't just good, he was very good.
He was, yeah. That was quite early on when he was in a go-kart. I think we realised it already when he was around 7.
But what stood out? What was it that made him
racecraft? When he goes out for a race on cold tires, his first lap was always a second quicker than anybody else. So when he had the lead in turn 1 after the start, the first time he came over start and finish, he had a second lead. And then they're running on colder tires. He has and for me, that's talent, that's feeling, and that's what you also see in the wet, you know, when you have very little grip. That's where he is fast.
And so what I'm finding fascinating is that some people might think that you had to push him into racing, but that's not the impression I'm getting. He was self-motivated.
He was very interesting in it. He wanted to start very early. He was always, I want to, you know, he said, when you were a little bit older, then I knew then I had more time for him as well. My plan was to put him in a go-kart when he's 6 years old. He was with his mom on a go-kart track in Genk nearby our house. And then he called me, Daddy, I want to go. And he was crying, and because he saw a younger guy running, and I want to do it as well. So, and then when I came home, I remember I was in Canada for the race. So when I came home from Canada, I bought him a go-kart. So, and that's how it started. He was 4.5.
4.5. And did you coach him? Were you having to tell him where to brake, teach him the lines?
Not in the beginning. Just let him have fun and drive. But I really never had to tell him the racing lines or things like that. He knew, because he was watching all the time.
And so here's the $10 million question. Is he better than you?
Much better than me. Nah,
seriously.
No, serious. He's much better.
Where is he better than
I had talent, but I think the whole way he's brought up, teached, I think that makes him a lot better.